Happy Tuesday evening, America, from deep inside the Area 51 studios, the Idle Zone Syndicate, with a live on location remote with Kyle, the Hitman Kister.
What's up?
Kyle is covering the, first graders?
Yes. Well, soon to be.
Oh, okay.
Soon to
Kindergarten,
be.
first grade ball game tonight. He's covering that for the Idle Zone Syndicate. We appreciate it.
Shout out to Armor Rec League.
And hey, there's John. John's here.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, I couldn't get the link to work.
He's earlier than last week.
Right on time. So, if you tuned in tonight expecting Clay Dyer, Clay had issues this evening. We will have Clay on at some point. But, reality is, guys, we're for the tour level folks, we are in, it's haymaking season for them.
Yep.
They gotta rake hay while sun shines. So,
yep.
Or pours rain, whichever. So when we get one of those guys this time of year, that's a bonus thing. So going to reschedule Clay. We'll get him on another time. As always, gentleman John Stewart, and live on location at the Arma Recreational Ball Diamonds, we have Kyle Kister. Kyle, For now. So Kyle Crank sold his house, closed on his new house, packed up his old house, and is now unpacking his old house into his new house tonight. So Dan's playing producer and co-host. And I'm leaving Brad backstage right now to make him nervous, because he's messaging me, telling me, I'm here, I'm backstage. Well, I see you, Brad. I wanted to give a little prop. Another fine guest that we have not scheduled yet on the Idle Zone, and we should do so soon. Josh Platies, Clutch Swim Bait Company. And I'm going to give him a little attaboy. Y'all got your recent bass times, right?
I don't think I've gotten mine yet.
Well, when you get it, you're going to see this lovely picture of Brandon on the front cover. And, whoops, I'm doing this in reverse. A little bassy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a little. That's little bassy.
That's
a big bassy.
Mm-hmm. With a white bait hanging out of its mouth. And that would be a Clutch Boss. So
nice.
Clutch Swim Bait on the cover of Bass Times this month. A little shout out to Josh and continued success with that.
Nice.
Are you being attacked, Kister?
Yeah, I am. he can't hear you, but he can hear you. Here, put that.
Hey, Max.
Hi.
What's up, Max? Hi.
Says just you're fixing to play some ball, and we're doing our little podcast for a little while until you get up to bat.
Yeah.
What's on your shirt?
My baseball team. It's red. And I'm number 7.
He's number 7 until he tucks his shirt in, and then it turns into a comma.
Well, buddy, you play hard and have fun, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Do a
I'm
good
gonna
job.
get it in the glass.
Go play some
You are-
catch and get
oh.
warmed up.
Are you playing what is it, T-ball or coach pitch or what is it?
It's coach pitch.
Coach pitch. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
When you get 2 strikes on you, don't be like my son and my daughter and just stand there. Swing the bat.
Okay.
Okay.
Swing
As
the
hard
bat
as you can.
as hard as I can, and like as hard as I can.
Yep.
Yep.
You can't hit it if you don't swing.
Okay.
That's right.
This is my friend Lincoln. Come here. Boom.
You too,
What's up, dude?
Lincoln.
He's going
You
against
too.
me. Yep.
You're
All right.
you're playing against each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the green against the red. Are you green or what color are you?
He's teal blue.
That's not blue.
He's teal.
I'm not arguing with 6-year-olds, but that's not blue.
He's flipping.
Okay, go.
Two. No, I'm 16. No, you.
Anywho,
Bye. Bye, guys.
Later. Good luck.
Later, dude.
Keep score. Don't let them tell you there ain't no score because there's always a score.
I hear you there.
Kyle, enjoy it. Enjoy. Hey, John and I have been through this, maybe on a couple more levels than you have.
My stuff is in the back.
His stuff's in the back, Dad.
Open the back so he can get his stuff.
He's a grown boy. He can open his own door.
Max, you need to get your cleats on and stuff.
That's what I'm doing.
He's got to get his cleats on.
Hi, Emily.
I have to get my stuff.
Don't let this poop show hold up the big bad Brad.
This is the show, man. What are you talking about?
It's a show and a show, by God. I'll just put myself on mute. I'll put myself on mute here in a second when you guys get sick of it.
Here's my cleats.
Those are nice. Those are nice.
I'm gonna have
I don't know.
Another piece of advice. Do not let him be a catcher.
Mm-mm. No, we're gonna.
Mainly because when they're catcher and they're kids, they grow. So you have to buy new catcher's equipment every year.
Makes total sense.
Not cheap.
I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna play somewhere in the outfield. He doesn't have the quick fielding skills yet. He enjoys throwing the ball. He likes batting. He likes running. He might be a designated runner,
There you go.
designated hitter. So, yeah.
I was just taking stuff. We're making Brad even more nervous. So I'm just
bring him
taking
on.
stock in the questions over here, or the comments.
I did take my daddy's
sorry.
truck.
Oh, there you go. Devin, sorry, you were not first. Jack was first. Jack's always first.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Matt's on, Moody's on, and they've all tuned in to hear the lowdown.
What is the lowdown?
The lowdown, we're fixing to find out the lowdown. I went
Sweet.
out and persuaded, and it took some doing. It took some doing in between engagements to get our guest on tonight. I had to reassure him that there's Justin Harris. He's our guest. No. Without further ado,
Do it.
Our guest tonight, this is a little bit of a dry run for he and I. We've been kicking around this idea for a week or so over the last, it's been a week or so, but honestly, the last couple of years, we've talked about doing something like this for KBN, doing like a, 30-minute, once a month, once a week, whatever, update what's going on. And so I just thought, why not have a little on the job training, a little trial by fire.
Mm-hmm.
So our guest tonight is Secretary of Kansas Bass Nation, Brad Van Riette. Now, Brad is he's a conscientious fellow, and he keeps us all on a straight and narrow, or something to that effect. And I'm going to find out for sure, but I'm going to say that he's been in or serving the board, serving the membership for 25 years. We'll find out for sure.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
Hey, just real quick before you bring the legend on, and I quit talking and watch a ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everybody pays attention to Big Bad Brad, because usually he's got some pretty good, meaningful messages.
Usually.
I've always enjoyed listening to some of his stories, and I'm excited just to kick back this evening and see what he's got to say.
Well, let's find out. Welcome, Brad.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
All right. Well, I guess then I'm smart enough to figure out a computer, right?
You got it. Ain't no thing.
Well, cool. And Kyle, if I'm impressing you, your life is way too dull, buddy. And a correction. I think it's like 23 years.
Oh, excuse me.
I think I came in the year that John left the KBN to go to to BASS. So, and I've served as the vice president. I've served as a youth director, and I serve as the secretary. And that's just about all. But
they say time flies when you're having fun, don't they, Brad?
You know what? It's been a pretty good time. It's been a pretty good time. Nothing's perfect, but when you get to fish with friends, it's a pretty good time. So, I mean, I don't have much more than that. You get that taken away from you, you begin to realize more and more what friends and family and good times mean. So, anyway, I'm done. Stop. That's all I'm going to do as far as waxing nostalgia.
Well, then we'd like to thank you for coming on tonight, Brad. And
yeah, you do. You're not done. You're just now getting started. So,
well, so Kiki's about to tune us out, and he's going to watch ball game, and that's fine. He needs to do that. I tried to tell him today, and I'm sure that the two other grandfathers on the screen would agree that you don't get more time with your kids, and you dang sure don't get it back. And I tried to impress that upon young Kiki this morning, and so I hope he does. step out and watch that game. So
Facts.
We're fixing to get started, but it's all good. I'm gonna enjoy the show and enjoy the game at the same time. Killed two birds with one stone. So
Kiki, you may have to hold your thumb over the microphone.
gotcha. I will. I'll hit it now.
See, Brad, this is so professional, and I mean it's simple. Or
Well,
maybe I'm just simple. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't understand the number of hours that I had to spend creating this backdrop.
Wow,
Nice.
nice backdrop. That's
Yeah, the walls are really red and purple striped, and that plant you see over right there is
that one.
actually has a grow light, and it might be considered to be illegal in some states. And
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, Brad, we'd like to thank you again for coming on tonight. Well, okay, so I opened the show with a little shout out to KBN dude Josh and the swim bait.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need a little results, a little what happened last weekend around the KBN. Going out west, we'll go west and move this way. So Hayes Team Series, Hayes Bass Anglers had their second weekend of their Team Series trail, was at Wilson. Keeley and Liker, that's a name that you say a lot at Wilson. Keeley and Liker had 17 and change on Saturday and a little less, 15 something on Sunday, 32-ish pounds, 33 for 2 days. Pardon me. I-70, that's Junction City Club, had a buddy at Milford that took, I want to say it was
27 pounds?
no.
17?
No, I think it was 17. Honestly, it was pretty close to what Wilson was. What else happened? Gosh. K-State benefit event at Melbourne. They ended up with 36 boats.
Nice.
Yeah, for a benefit event. That's pretty awesome. Familiar names there won that. And that was the soon-to-be college team of Herman and Herman. Kyle and Nick won that event at just under 13, I think it was. A little tougher bite for Melbourne.
I just want to know if the guys that were in the boat standing up, driving down the lake with the trolling motor down, survived.
That's a good question. And I think that I think President Turner made that graphic.
Well,
And I'm being honest. I think he did. And if he did, then wow, Mike.
if he made that graphic, he needs to not quit his day job.
Oh my.
We love you, Mike, but
Yeah, stick to TV, man.
yeah.
Brad, what's coming up with Kansas Bass Nation?
Well, you left out the KBN at Mozingo.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, you covered
I
everybody
think we
but
talked
us.
about that last weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was at
That-
Mozingo.
Yeah, that was that last weekend?
I think we covered that last week.
Okay.
So it must have been a couple weekends ago.
Might have been a couple weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, coming up here in weekend after this coming. So what, 17th and 18th?
Yeah.
Kansas Buddy Bass, which is now the KBN Team Series.
Right.
How exactly is that working, Brad?
Well, in speaking to Drew Barnaby, the one who is running it, Travis Birch, of course, is our tournament director. But my understanding is that in the last year, 2024, the two of them had been having conversations, and what happened was Kansas Buddy Bass decided to join the KBN. And so now Kansas Buddy Bass is a club within the KBN, and Drew is under the auspices of our tournament director, Travis Birch. Drew is running that team circuit. To go along with that, I would say Kansas Buddy Bass, since we started paying dues this past September, is now the second largest club in the entire state or the entire KBN. So
That's cool.
they are. Yeah, that's pretty impressive to think that they've added that much. I think it's going well. First year we sat in I think it was the February meeting and had our discussions. Was that the one we had that was virtual?
Yeah, we were going to meet at Russell Marine Products, and then weather.
And, yeah, the weather was bad, but Drew joined us online, and he got some information about what it takes to run a team series through BASS, and just immediately said, okay, I'll make that change. Okay, I'll make that change. There were a couple of more suggestions, and he says, what happens when we do this? Yes, okay, I'll make that change. And so I think that it's a very positive move. He seems to be a great guy. I haven't had an opportunity to meet his fishing partner yet, but I hope to in June, June or July, I can't remember. I'm going to go fish a couple of the team series tournaments, but I think it's been very, very positive. While we're on the team series, I'll just tell you, if you guys don't know, at least for this year, the way the KBB is running things, there are 8 tournaments. Now, 6 of those tournaments will give you points towards Angler of the Year, which receives some prizes, free entries, and such as that. You get to essentially throw out 2. Those 8 are leading towards a state championship, team state championship, I think the first weekend in November on Grand Lake. And to get to the state championship, the team state championship, you must have fished 3 tournaments. Not all 8, not 6 of the 8. You only have to have fished 3. 3, yeah, 3. 1, 2, and But 3. And there's actually, I think 5 of the tournaments are in Missouri and 3 are in Kansas. So, and next year we'll see what happens. Again, this was kind of he joined, or the KBB joined us. They already had some dates set, already had some lakes set. We'll see what we can do for next year. But all you got to do, guys, is just fish 3. And you're in the state championship, the team state championship. Then when you get to the team state championship, the team or teams that advance to the Bass Nation Team Championship, the national championship, will come from the state championship, team state championship at Grand. So a little bit different than last year. We did 4 tournaments over 2 days. And now it's essentially 3 one-day tournaments and then a 2-day state championship, team state championship. I think it's pretty neat. I think that listening to Drew at our business meeting and how he seemed to be very receptive to ideas and concepts, I look really forward to this. One of the things I know that's going to happen is that it is the next tournament at Truman.
Yeah, 17th and 18th at Truman.
Okay. At Truman, Backlashers is going to join the KBB to swell their numbers for the one tournament. And I think there's some discussion that they may then turn around and fish a couple more and then be in the qualification for the state championship. We've briefly talked to East Kansas. East Kansas is the largest club in the KBN, and there's some talk about them wanting to use some of the KBN team circuit and try to get some of their teams qualified. If you fished the Kansas Bass Nation 20 years ago, our team series was huge. It was big. It was 40, 50 teams. And it would be really neat to be able to get that back to that point. To give you an idea, just in the greater Kansas City area, KBN clubs. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you're fine.
I got a hand raised.
No, we're signaling to each other.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I don't understand this
isn't a
meeting present stuff.
We do. It's baseball, so we're doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha. But in the greater Kansas City area,
Excuse me.
there are over 100 members. And if Backlashers, which is one of the largest clubs, and KBN, which is one of the largest clubs, they're both in the greater Kansas City area. If they want to join, and then if we can entice the Topeka club, maybe the Wichita clubs, the Salina clubs, the Hayes clubs. Again, we only need, if we do this the same way again next year, and of course that's going to be up to Travis and Drew, but if we do the same thing again, we're only going to be talking about 3 tournaments. And yet the guys in the eastern part of the state, if they want to stay fishing Missouri or whatever, they can still be fishing Missouri. We can make a central Kansas swing for 3 tournaments.
That's Western Kansas.
What's that?
It's Western Kansas.
Brad, I have to interject that I was brought up to speed last week by former tournament director Moody that Fredonia is the border. That's
Western.
western Kansas is Fredonia. So
Okay. All
I don't know if you want to call everything west of there extreme eastern Colorado. I don't know.
Yes.
Well, then let's just say a state of Kansas swing.
There you go.
All right.
A state of Kansas swing. But I
do have a question
Yes, sir.
right off the top. If you know off the top of your head, can you have an alternate?
I believe so.
I believe you can have an alternate, but it's one alternate.
Yeah.
One.
And it seems
So
like
if me and Danny fished Palmy and Stockton, and Danny could have an alternate and fish one of the other, have our alternate and go with him and fish one of the Kansas ones, that would qualify us for the championship.
Yes,
Or the-
I'm not going to say it's 100% true, but yes, I believe that's the case. If I remember correctly, there's one alternate. The team that you designate as the team, I believe, is the team that will qualify to go to the Nationals.
Right.
So if you and Danny declare that you're the team,
And then me and you fish Melbourne,
right?
it would be me and Danny.
It's you and Danny. It's you and Danny, right? So again, there's an option there for alternates. This is brand new for this year, so I try to keep track of it. But I think Drew is doing a bang up job. I think that he's approaching 20 teams already. And as soon as Backlashers joins them in 2 weeks, you have to have 25 teams to qualify to go to the national championship. There should be no issue with that because we, of course, haven't swung into Kansas yet. And I know that I plan on fishing some of the tournaments in Kansas. I know that Mike Turner has said he wants to fish some in Kansas. So I think that'll happen. What I'm hoping is that the guys that for the last couple of years that have been in the KBN team series will come out and support this, because this is the KBN team series. It's just KBB joined us.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's only 3 tournaments and you're in the team state championship. And for those of you who don't know, once you get to the national championship, there is one angler that will leave the national championship with an entry into the Bassmasters Classic. So this is fishing a team circuit. This is an opportunity for you to make the Bassmasters Classic. Now, of course, you don't get to fish with your partner there, but it's team series, and one of them is going to get to be in the Bassmasters Classic. If I'm assuming that if we continue to provide enough anglers, enough support across the nation, the bass will continue to work with us. But we don't know. We're kind of the consumers of what they produce, and so we go with it. You can whine and cry and say what should have been, what could have been, don't like this, don't like that, but ultimately we're the consumers. And So you can walk away, you can stay, you can put a voice out there and try to make a change. But I'm very, very enthused, feeling pretty positive about the team series, especially with how quickly Drew made some of the changes to make it so that it would work with us. And so that's my 2 cents on the team series. I don't know if you guys have any comments about it, but I can just tell you that when me and my partner show up, y'all just might as well send your entry fee in and then not show up, because that's the only chance we would have of even placing. So anyway, that's the team series. I would what?
As okay, well, I learned the TD trade from the guy in the Jayhawk hat. So he knows exactly what I'm going to say, or maybe he doesn't, but he's going to feel it. For the KBN volunteer tournament director position, this partnership with KBB is a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still providing a product for our membership, and actually, if you look at it, it's a really awesome product, and there's several different opportunities. As Brad was so eloquently putting, if you want to stay and fish in the East, you can fish 3 in the East. If you want to fish 3 in state, you can fish 3 in state. If you want to fish all of them, you can do that. But all you need is 3 to get you in the championship. And the guys that go to national come from the championship. That's pretty awesome. That's an awesome product.
Right.
And it takes a lot of headache and cat wrangling and herding and whatnot off of the shoulders of the KBN tournament director. So,
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from Dano on that one.
Yeah, I am, and maybe this is a segue into our KBN state championship, but having Travis step in as the tournament director with the some of the tournaments that he is that he has a background in, the World Fishing Tour and the Ladies Bass Anglers Association, and being able to step into this, he can still stay concentrated on that and concentrate on our state championship while having somebody like Drew, who's been running a team series, step in and run a team series. It is a win-win. Yeah, I see. It is a win-win situation that I would love to see us support and move on and move forward with. But so I'm going to use that as a segue into the state championship. What do you think?
Whatever do you mean, Brad?
Oh, the state championship. Wow. For all of you old folks, we used to call it the qualifier. But with some recent changes, the last 2 or 3 years, changes made by Bass, there is no more state team. That's a change. Again, that hurt a lot of people's feelings. But again, we're the consumers, and we can voice it, but we don't own it. And so we can choose to consume it or not consume it. But what we've done is we have moved into a KBN state championship. And for those of you who know or don't know, at that state championship, based upon our membership, we have a certain number of anglers, and I'll say boaters and non-boaters, that will get a berth that goes directly to the Bass National Championship. You don't go to the regionals anymore. You go directly to the Bass National Championship. There is still a regional. You can go enter it, but you don't necessarily have to qualify for it. You have to be a Bass Nation member, but you don't have to qualify like we did with the old state team. So we still have the regionals. You can still advance through the regionals to the Bass National Championship. But this November, the second weekend, I think, of November or thereabouts, we are going to be at Grand Lake, and we are going to have our state championship, and 3 boaters and 3 non-boaters are going to get berths directly to the national championship. Doesn't mean that you can't go to the regionals. You can still go to the regionals all you want. You can still advance out of the regionals. This is just a more direct route. So if you don't do well there, fish a regional 2 or 2 and see if you do well. And another big change with this state championship, and this was brought about this past fall, actually a year ago, February, at our business meeting, we talked about, or we always have our proposals to how we're going to hold the state championship, in state, out of state, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. And all the clubs that are in attendance get to vote on it. It was voted on by the clubs that were there. I looked it up a little while ago just to make sure I knew what I was talking about. There was 1 vote for one of the proposals. There was another vote for one of the other proposals, and then for the proposal they put in, there were 13 votes. So, pretty overwhelming majority. And the interesting thing about this, and again, it's a cool concept, is now we're looking at taking bids from local venues, lakes, whatever it is, convention and visitor bureaus, marinas, motels, local bait shops, whatever it is, to try to get them to step in and sponsor us to be in that area so that our presence is felt for their local economy. That's not something that I really ever remember having been done in the KBN before. We always paid our entry fees, we deducted the expenses, and we said, here's what's left over. Well, just so that people know, there is like a bare minimum of $2,500 of added value in our state championship this year. Now, I don't ever remember us having an extra $2,500 in any state championship. But we have this, it's going to be at Grove, Oklahoma, second weekend or thereabouts. I can tell you that, is it the third weekend?
Yeah.
Third weekend. Okay, third weekend. Thank you. I was not sure if when you were doing that, you were doing hand signals to your buddy, or if I was just supposed
that
to
too.
for that. Or,
That too.
so, anyway, the Grove.
West side.
Grove ponied up cash money cash
Mhm.
money. And the more boats we have show up, the more money they're going to pony up. That's
Yeah.
cash added to the entry fees. To go along with that, yeah, stroke the chin there, buddy.
I'm trying to decide if I should interject right now, so I'm
Go
going
ahead.
to interject right now. So the difference, the point of what Brad is listing for you all is that the qualifier is going to have, or the state championship. See, I broke my own rule. The state championship is going to have payback. There's going to be 3 places awarded, 3 boaters, 3 co's, but in addition, there's payback.
Right.
Payback and prizes, and as Brad continues.
Well, and for instance, a local business down there, run by somebody we know, and by the name of John Stewart. He has I don't know, is that a motel or hotel? I can't ever figure out which one is which.
Motel.
Okay.
Lodge.
The motel that
The
he's
lodge. The lodge.
the lodge.
Meeting place.
They are going to, and part of this bid, they're providing some room compensation for the tournament staff. Well, guys, before we paid our entry fees and then we had to subtract our expenses. That's not an expense that we're necessarily going to have, which means it's not coming out of the entry fees. So not only are we getting cash to add to the entry fees, we're not having that portion of the expenses come out of the entry fees. It's more money. And then we have other vendors. We have, and again, I think John also has provided a big bass bonus. Again, we could have in the past, we sometimes have had a side pot where people paid more, or we've just taken it out of the entry fee. We can still do that, but we have the added value now coming from the lodge at Grand Lake of the Cherokees. Then we have a couple of vendors. We have Russell Marine Products that have stepped up and are providing us some added value. We have Mark Moody and his Real Repair and Speed Demon Shop, or whatever he makes them things do, because it's pretty impressive, guys. I've bought some of his reels. It's pretty impressive.
Well,
Okay.
Brad, you know what he's doing to how he's lubing those reels up, right?
I don't want to know nothing about no lube.
He's tapping the ashes off that stogie into your reel.
I'm telling you what, if it makes it throw an extra 10 yards, it still makes it throw an extra 10 yards. But we have that added value. Again, at the basic level, through this bidding process, we have a base added value of $2,500. That's above and beyond the entry fees. And again, I don't remember that in the Bass Nation before. Now, let me go on and say, does that mean that we're going to go to Grand Lake every year? Nope. There was a possibility that we were going to go to Bull Shoals. But one of the things that's built into this bid process, and anybody who wants to go out and search for a bid, get a hold of one of our officers, and we'll get you a copy of what you need to know. Okay, we'll get it. It is also determined by distance. The further it away, we deduct money from what it's worth. So if you have one venue that's 200 miles away and they're offering $1,000, and you have another venue that is 100 miles away and they're offering $900, you have to look at the distance. There's a formula. It's in the bid sheet. And then what works out to be the best financial deal is the one we take. And this year it was at Grand. It's slick. It's really, really slick. And it does not preclude the concept of staying in state, because in state is much closer than going to out of state. Yeah. Now there is a point in there where it says that we will accept bids up to 700 miles away from the center of Kansas. That's upset some people.
And
what are we doing going 700 miles away from Kansas?
That's just seeing 700 or 700 in the paragraph that they skimmed over and not realizing that it's a limit and not.
It's not a goal.
Yeah, it's not a goal at all.
And listen, I'll say this. I know that we have had proposals in the past that said we were going to fish out of state. And we accepted that, and we thought that was just fine. We'll go out and find a place to fish out of state. Well, out of state can be a heck of a lot further than 700 miles.
Yeah.
That's any one of the other 49 states. So I'm not worried about the 700 miles business. I hope that some local clubs can get together and they can find a lake or two in the state of Kansas that they can meet with the city fathers, that they can work with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Maybe they have a friend that runs a gas station. Maybe they know somebody who has a motel. They can put together a bid and they can submit it. And and I'm telling you, if financially it is the best bid, that's where we're going. This is a neat concept. And I live in Iola, Kansas, in southeast Kansas, and there ain't much here. I can go to the Neosho River and catch catfish and carp.
You are pretty close to western Kansas, though, at that Fredonia border.
That is true. If I travel for 6 hours, I can get to that western Kansas stuff. So it's difficult maybe for me and my club to go out and search out a bid, but I'm going to tell you, there's a pretty big lake called Perry. I think we could have a state championship on Perry if some of the clubs wanted to get together and search out a bid process for Perry. I happen to know, if I believe members of the board, there's a marina on Perry that has said directly to one of our board members, we want you there next year, 2026. They're already soliciting for part of our tournament session to get to Perry. Okay. I'm willing to bet you that Milford could probably put something together. I don't know how big it will be, but I'm willing to bet you Milford could put something together. We know that Russell out at Wilson has put things together in the past. Now it's a matter of find us the information, determine its worth, turn it into us, and if you got the best bid, the best financial bid, that's where we're going, guys. It's a whole new ball game. And I don't understand anybody who wants to say that this isn't better. Mo money is mo better.
Brad, I want to, well, one, thank you for all of that, for that explanation. But I want to switch gears a little bit and look at this from an angler standpoint and not from the administration side. So basically, guys, what we told you is, yes, there are fewer spots in the state championship, but now there's payback. There's payback, and looks like some of this stuff will be like door prizes or prizes for places. So, for those guys that are on the fence, I kind of thought about trying the state qualifier before the state championship. I don't know. Oh, I didn't realize there's payback too. So if I go, I make like the top 10 or something, I might get check. That totally changes the game. Because before, there was no payback. If you made the top 10, you were on the team, and you didn't get that money until you were physically at the regional. So, cool deal. All the way around. It is a win-win situation. And the one thing that I did want to point out, for the folks that didn't understand the mileage part of it, they're thinking that they're penalized for being a club that's further in state, when actually reality is that finding a venue in state would benefit them. I mean, it's going to be
Closer.
and being closer, it levels the field a little bit because of the mileage deduction. So it's really, it seems very complicated until you break it down, and it's not at all.
No,
So
I mean, it's my understanding that the Bull Shoals and Grand bids were almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But because Grand is that much closer,
Mm-hmm.
that's why they got the bid. Now, I do want to say, as a business owner and as a person that knows what the city wants, the anglers, we have to do our part and show up. If it doesn't, if you want these bids to grow, which they will, I mean, we've been told by the city of Grove that this is what you're getting. It's about all we can do for a 20 boat field, which is what we've been getting, 25, whatever it is, somewhere around there.
mm-hmm.
But if you double that, guess what? That doubles the amount that Grove is willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So next year or the year after or whatever, or when you're soliciting from Russell or Perry or Junction City or wherever, you can use Grand as this is what we had last year. This is what Grove gave us last year and what the community gave us. And, we got this many boats. We expect it to be more. If we can get that money up a little bit, we expect it to be more. So the anglers themselves have to understand that it will only get better if you participate. And it will, and it can get better.
Mm-hmm.
But we've kind of dug ourselves a hole, so to speak, and we're You're not just going to get out of it like that. You have to, you know, there is no city out there that's going to give you $5,000 for a 20 or 25 boat tournament. They're just not. And it wouldn't be smart for them to do so. But the more boats we get, the more money that you can ask for.
And the proposal from Grand was for a basic amount based upon a certain number of boats. And then as the boat numbers increased, they increased the pay. That's why when I said it's a basic $2,500,
Yeah.
but it can continue to grow based upon more entries. Danny said something about payback at the ramp. That's one of the things that has changed again this year. One of the things that I've heard for a lot of years. Wow, what? I didn't win anything? Oh, yeah, you're going to get it when you go to nationals or whatever. Well, now we're going to pay back at the ramp, and we're going to pay back 20% of the field. That's 1 in 5. That's in the proposal. That's what we voted on. 1 in 5. So just doing a rough number, a very, very rough number. If we got lucky and we had 50 boats that showed up, I'm hoping we do. I want more than that, but I'm hoping we get 50 to show up. If we got 50 boats to show up, and boaters are paying $200 a piece to fish, that's $10,000. Now, guess what? We don't have to deduct expenses because the expenses are basically paid for. Oh, by the way, we're going to add money to that because Grove has already promised X number of dollars of cash. Oh, we also have gift certificates, and we have these things that are also going to be given out. But let's just go back to the flat $10,000. That means we're going to pay 10 places, 1 in 5 with 50 boats. Now, I don't know what Travis is going to figure out. It's up to Travis. But the other day I was messing around online and I was looking at different paybacks based upon this and that and that and this and the whole 9 yards. And based upon paying back 10, depends upon what you were looking at, 30 to 35% to first place. Guys, that means if you go down there and win this and you're a boater, again, it depends on what Travis decides, but it could be $3,000. Mm-hmm. It could be $3,500. We ain't never paid back anything like that before.
Yeah.
Pretty never.
Cool.
And you're going to pay 10 places. Mm-hmm. Now, I think when I looked at it, 10th place was somewhere close to $200. So you were going to get your
money back. Yeah.
Get your money back. Okay. And those are rough figures, and they're just things I looked up. We're not holding Travis to it or anything like that.
We're just getting a, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just for instance. Brad, let's circle back through the comments there real quick. And yes, Mark Moody had mentioned that Albers Marine was also a contributor on that. Pretty good chunk, and we absolutely appreciate Albers. Dennis, no, you do not have to link. We'll be using the Fishing Chaos app. Mm-hmm. If you are not familiar with the Fishing Chaos app, it's wow, is it cool? I mean, I don't. If you fished the Melbourne qualifier last year with us, and Travis ran that for us, used Fishing Chaos app for that event. Results go to your phone. You come across the stage and your weight's in your hand on your phone. Mm-hmm. You register through the app. You can pay your club dues through the app. You can you get your partner pairings through the app. Results storm warning, which seems
You
to be all the rage this year. Good night. It was raining at Fork, wasn't it? But no, Dennis, you don't have to link. When you get ready to enter, you just go on to Fishing Chaos, make a profile, find the event, register. You can even pay right then. It's super easy. Sorry, Brad, I cut you off again.
No, exactly. That's
Circle
perfect.
back. That's what we do. We circle back.
That's perfect. Perfect. Fishing Chaos was really pretty neat. Really, really pretty neat.
And if you are a tournament director watching and you haven't investigated the Fishing Chaos app, I'm going to tell you, check it out, man. Because all that stuff that you're doing on your notebooks and your laptop, all that stuff, the partner pairing and the randomizer and all that, it's all right there on that app. Now, I'm going to be very truthful. For the administrative side of it, it is way simpler to use your laptop with the app. But for the competitor, no problem on your phone. Very simple and very cool.
a lot of bigger organizations use it. I mean, the Bass Cat Owners Tournament used it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our youth program's been using it for what, 2 years now?
Yeah, this is their second year.
Yeah.
Now we haven't got our money back from the canceled tournament yet, but we got a text today saying that they're working with Fishing Chaos to get our money back. So
All right. What else?
Cool stuff going on.
Hey,
on that, you brought up you could pay your club dues. I believe the angler himself can pay his club dues.
yes.
Because I tried to pay somebody else's dues through Fishing Chaos and I couldn't do it.
Right.
Right.
So
You can-
like I can go on and pay my dues, but if I just wanted other club administrators to know, you can't go on there and pay your state dues for everybody in your club. It's just your own
Yeah, I should have.
dues.
I should have explained that a little better.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we're working on in the background. But
Because I wanted to ask you, I've got one or two guys that I've got to pay. I still haven't paid state dues yet.
yeah, I know.
And I got another one. I just paid the national part.
Okay.
So I need to pay that somehow. I hate PayPal. I hate PayPal.
Write a check and send it to Rick.
Okay. I need to figure out who those guys are again. I know I asked you once, but
Yeah.
I'll text you later.
Okay. Yeah. You can. We'll still take snail mail.
All right.
Jared Knuth checking in over here on the comments. Congrats on the Nebraska win, Jared. That was at Truman, I think.
Yeah.
This past
Truman.
week.
Yeah. Last week, Jared fished that. And then he drove here and fished Anglers in Action and got a check. I think he got the last check, 18th place or something. And then he lost a bearing on his boat. So it's sitting out here underneath the awning there. Your boat's fine. The tallies were here today and took the bearings all off, and I'm sure they've called you and told you what you need to order. So,
Cool. Hey, I want to if we're talking tournaments, the scholarship tournament, the Frank Stone Scholarship Tournament,
Hey, good idea.
is going to be August 2nd. We're moving it to August this year. We had some scheduling issues. We're moving it to August. For those of you who may not know, we have a KBN Frank Stone Memorial Scholarship that is available for application to all KBN members and their family. And I don't think we've turned away a family yet. It's always been children, maybe a niece and a nephew or a grandchild or two. But we take applications. We put together a committee who then reviews the applications, uses a point system, and then we present that information to the club representatives at the business meeting, where they decide how many they want to pay and how much they want to pay. This is all a KBN club driven, membership driven type of thing. This is, again, you might hear people ask, what's the KBN got for me? Well, it's not everything for everybody, but I can tell you this past year, we appropriated $4,000. And the 2 years before that, we did $3,000 each year. So that's $10,000 in the last 3 years that we have appropriated directly to either our members or their family. Now, the only way that money gets there is either because you entered the Frank Stone tournament. I don't care if you come and fish it or not. 100% of the entry fees goes into the scholarship fund. So if you want to make a donation, enter. You don't have to show up. Enter. Because I can also tell you, we don't pay back any money at the ramp. We go out, we solicit a bunch of prizes, and we give a bunch of prizes. Last year, Cherryvale got together and they burned us a bunch of hot dogs and served us stale chips. No, actually, none of them were burnt. The chips were fine.
The chips were fine. And in fact, Max, the hot dog wrangler, he was shuttling plates of food to the trucks in line. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's one of those deals. You get together with some friends, you fish an event, and you have fun. And the money that we make from it is going to go into a scholarship fund, and KBN members or their family are going to benefit directly from it. Directly from it. My son received one of the scholarships way back when.
My daughter received one.
Your daughter received one. Right. And I know a lot. I know a lot of people. The very first one, that gentleman is now a physician. We've done some good with it, and it's something that's pretty close to me. Now I know this year, John Ingold of Twin Rivers, he's in Twin River. They're always big donors. This year they threw out a club challenge. Why don't y'all just each club try to pony up $100? Well, guess what? If you can hear me, pony up $100. Your club get together, everybody can pay an extra $10 or something, put it all together, send it in. It's going into the scholarship fund. There's no administrative fees. There's nothing like it's 100% volunteer driven. And I know that I think it was East Kansas. As soon as they heard about it, they turned around and wrote us a check for $250. So last year we paid $4,000. We got to make that money back so that we can pay $4,000 again this year. The other thing is, because we're giving away door prizes. If your club wants to donate, get us a couple of Bass Pro gift cards or Shields or Academy or whatever gift cards and send them to us. If you got a company and you want to send us 10 hats, send us 10 hats. If you see a sale on decent baits, spend $10 on $50 worth of baits and send them to us.
Buy a gift certificate from Lake Lodge at Grand Lake of the Cherokees and give that away.
There you go. So, that's coming up August 2nd, and it's at Big Hill Reservoir. I know it's in southeast Kansas. It's a drive for a lot of people. But again, I will say, I think the entry fee for the last 2 or 3 years has been $50 a team. If you can't make it, enter. We'll put the $50 into the scholarship fund. It's all 100% volunteer driven.
Brad,
Yes, sir.
you are extremely passionate about the Stong. And that's why I waited to see if you were going to bring it up. How much money has KBN awarded over the years with this scholarship?
We
This
have,
ballpark.
it's right at $22,000, with 10,000 of that being in the last 3 years. We've really upped our game. But the only reason we can up our game is because people help us out. And again, remember, it's going directly to members or family of members. So, and I just can't thank enough. I know that my son got the second one ever, and my son is now an IT director and has provided me with 2 grandchildren. And I just can't be proud enough of that particular situation. And again, John's daughter, John Ingold, who I mentioned earlier, Rick Mull, who's he's the treasurer for the KBN. There are a lot of people, and remember, members or family of members. So for me, it is one of the premier things, because it's volunteer and it goes back to us.
And like you said, it's been, I mean, that last year was the 10th year. But you don't just give one.
Right.
So there's been years when one was given. There's been years when 4 or 5 were given. So there's, I don't know how many total have been given. Maybe 15 or 20.
Just a second, please.
Oh dear.
He's gonna get it.
He'll pull the file up.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, and it's, they're not scholarships that are going to be full tuition for somebody, but they certainly will pay for books, or help them out with
Something.
rent 1 month or whatever at their school. Bree has now got her own design business studio, and that was a little bit of a part of it.
Yeah. Total of 27.
27 in 10 years.
As best as I can tell. Yep. And again, in the last 3 years, we've really upped our game. And a little bit of history is, years ago, we had a scholarship through a university. And the way it was set up, it was only for people who went into certain degrees, and we didn't get to select who the winner was. Universally selected who the winner was. And we decided several years ago that we'd bring it back in-house. And so we did. We named it after Frank Stong, who I never had the joy of knowing, but I kept hearing that name a lot and still hear it a lot. And so through that, we basically started with almost nothing. I mean, a few donations and what guys wanted to pay to fish the tournament. And I think at that time it was like $20 to fish the tournament. It was like nothing, but we've been able to grow it. And we don't want the entry fee to be so big that people don't want to show up, because we want guys to show up and have fun. I know I watch guys that show up with their kids, or they show up with their wife. They show up with their grandchildren, their grandkids, to fish this, because it's like, okay, let's go out, let's fish, let's have a good time, let's eat a hot dog, hopefully win a prize or two, and let's do something good. And so, yeah, Danny, I am kind of passionate about it. But anyway, that's the Frank Stong, August 2nd. Like I said, biggest thing I would say is have your club donate some money. Go ahead and pay your entry fee, even if you're not going to fish, and send us a gift to give away.
There's no, like you said, there's no prize money, but there is a plaque.
Yes.
That's got all the winners on it. And for those of us that knew Frank, that, and Brian Failer was probably Frank's one of Frank's maybe Frank's biggest success story in life, in fishing. And I don't think Brian would mind me saying this, but when Frank kind of took Brian under his wing, Brian was kind of a lost soul and changed his life, this fishing thing. And so those of us that knew Frank, and Brian won the very first one, which was very fitting. And I tried for 10 years to get my name on that plaque, and I had to bring in a ringer to do it. I teamed up with Moody last year, and we were able to do it. But that name on that plaque means the world to me, having my name on that plaque, on the Frank Stong Memorial plaque. So, but it is a good time, and I've fished with both. I've fished with my son, I've fished with my daughter, I've fished with my brother-in-law, I've fished with my brother, I've fished with Eric, I believe, one time. Fished with Mark, fished with Danny, fished with my daughter's ex. Hope she's not listening, because she'd rather me forget about that one. But it is a great time, and I'm gonna fish with Moody again and try to defend, unless Amelia wants to come down and fish with me. Then Moody's out, and I'm gonna fish with Amelia, my granddaughter.
Cool.
Hey, Brad.
Yes, sir.
I You joined a little late. No, no problem. I was just wondering if you were seeing the comments on the side.
No.
Okay. On your screen, if you go up on the right side, there's a little button that says comments. If you click on that, it'll show you what everybody's saying. Anyway, Eric Stong is watching from Florida, and he wanted to tell you thank you for all that you do with the scholarship award.
Well, yes. Eric, come on back, dude. You've been threatening to come back I don't know how many times. Come on back. Show us what that Florida fishing can accomplish in Kansas.
He's scared. He's scared to come back fishing
Yeah,
and stuff.
Well, John, you talked about plaques for a minute and winning a plaque, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. I wanted to throw one other thing out here before I get to plaques. Okay. Again, positive things within the Kansas Bass Nation. We have a conservation director by the name of Clayton Rudman. And Clayton has been doing a bang-up job. Absolutely great job. Clayton, in the last couple of years, has got us a couple of grants by making grant applications. He's made some for this coming year. Clayton has been working hand in hand with the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism, trying to make the bass fishing in general, the fishing experience in Kansas better. And I can tell you that, Kansas is not known for being the best bass fishing lake or best bass fishing state around. But we got what we got, and that's all we got. But through some of Clayton's efforts, I think we might see some positive results. One thing I can tell you is that we're waiting for a final date, but Clayton has arranged for the KBN board to be able to meet with one of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks Tourism, either council members or their secretary or whatever. So we're going to be able to meet directly with them to discuss some changes that we want to see within the state. And again, we can't do everything, but we can do little bits here and little bits there. And Clayton has been doing a great job, and we're hoping that it makes a change. As Clayton says, what you decide today, if you're talking about the state, may not happen for 3 or 4 years, but you got to start somewhere. You got to look to the future and plan for the future and try to come up with a positive move here and a positive mood there. And so just to let you know that, again, that's another thing that the KBN is trying to do for bass fishermen in the state of Kansas. Now, back to the plaques. So we have this thing in the state of Kansas, KBN, that has been better. It's been worse. It's called our awards banquet. And it's kind of gone backwards. I'm going to blame it on the fact that for 2 years, we lost our alliance package through Bass. I'm going to tell you that's a discount purchasing package that we used to purchase items for raffle at the banquet. And when you don't have anything to raffle off, not very many people decide to show up. So I can tell you that that's back. I can also tell you that we realize that maybe we haven't been able to recognize a state team because a state team doesn't exist anymore. But we have been recognizing what Danny brought about with Jeff Nolte and recognizing what we call the master class, a hall of fame, if you will. And we've been inducting people into the KBN master class, the KBN Hall of Fame. To this end, we have created a committee, and that committee is working on making a better banquet. I'm not sure exactly what the format's going to be, but as we speak, we have committee members who are trying to find venues, that are trying to find caterers, that are trying to find vendors that want to show us their product. And we're trying to put together the best possible banquet that we can for our members. I don't know that we've ever had a banquet committee before, but we do. Oh my gosh, he's back. We now do. And we're trying to put it together. And I will tell you, one of the things that was said, I happen to be on the committee. I can tell you one of the things that was said in like the first meeting we had was the concept came up that you can't have everything in the East and you can't have everything in the West. And the person who said that is about as far east as east can get. And he suggested that while we might have it east this year, we desperately need to move it west next year. So for whatever west is, I don't know what west is, whatever west is, we want to have our next banquet, not this one coming up, but our next banquet west. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of tie this back because this is the last topic I had. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tie this kind of back into this whole bidding process.
Brad,
What?
time.
Yeah.
Kiki. Brad was scared to death. He didn't have 30 minutes worth of material. He's on an hour and 12 minutes, and he hasn't got to his last topic point yet.
I've been watching on and off, and he's doing a great job.
Love you, Brad.
He's doing a great job, and I knew he would.
So I want to go back to this bidding process now.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
Okay. If you're in Western Kansas, and I don't know what Western Kansas is, but if you're in Western Kansas and you want us to bring the banquet out to Western Kansas, help us out. Help us out. Put us in touch with some people. I don't live in Western Kansas. I live in Gas, Kansas.
That's
population like 502. Don't throw your aluminum can out the door when you're driving down 54. You might land in my front yard.
Somebody told me you lived in La Harpe.
No. My wife is laughing in the bedroom. No. No, thank you. I won't go into that. No. But if you're in Western Kansas and you want us to be out there, get involved with the bid process. It's not the same as the state championship, but if we don't have people on the ground out there, there's probably a pretty good chance that we're not going to be able to put together something that's very good. And I would also go on to say, if you are interested in bidding the state championship and you're talking to somebody, the CVB or a motel or a restaurant, whatever it is, and you're talking to them, boy, if you ever watched, what is it called, American Pickers, the old boy that used to be on there, Frank, he always wanted to bundle. Let's put a bundle together. Let's put a bundle together. Okay? Put a bundle together.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, what would you give us for this? And now what would you give us if we came back with this? And as I told you earlier, Marino and Perry has already said, hey, we would love to have, and I will tell you, it's the youth. And Perry is going to be one of the team stops in Kansas this year. Oh, I know that Drew and Tate have had at least a cursory conversation about possibly bundling to Perry. All right, so I did the state championship. I did the team series. I did the Stone. I did conservation. I did the banquet. I ain't got nothing. I'm done. Put a fork in me. I'm done.
Brad, you know what?
I know what. It's 4-letter word. Starts with W.
That entire dissertation was nothing but a positive outlook. And every week on this show, with no matter which guest it is, we've got to dance around negative topics. Because there's so much negativity in the sport right now, or not necessarily negativity, but clickbait and drama and negativity. So I would just thank you for coming on and being something positive. Thank you.
And I see these comments now.
Yeah.
And I see the real Devin. If only 30 people live west of Salina, why are we hosting a banquet in Salina?
Yeah.
Well, there may be more than that. By my calculations, there are more than that. And I'm the secretary. I'm the one who keeps the roster. Maybe not a whole lot more than 30. But, they come up with a good enough concept, we'll go west. And I don't know how far west is.
I mean, what are the
It's not just about membership totals, if it should be here or there. It's about who's willing to step up and volunteer to help. That's it. That's it.
I mean,
who's
that, and it used to be. I don't know what you would know closer. You would know now more than I know, but I mean, it used to be if you took and included Salina and like Hutch and, that I-35, everybody that touched that, and west and the east, it used to be pretty dang even.
Yeah, it's probably, if you did the Wichita to Salina line, and
which you should. I mean, that's I-35.
Right.
That's
I would say it's probably Wichita, Salina, Hayes, Western Kansas, Hutch. I'm going to say it would be close to 1/3 of our membership. And again, I would say that. Why would I want to go west? Well, I'd want to go west to see my friends that are out west. Mm-hmm. Because I haven't been out west for a while to see my friends that are out west. And I want to go out there just because sometimes they come back here to see me here. And so that's why I would want to go west. And again, I'm going to tell you, there was a guy that's east that one of the very first suggestions was, we need to go east, then we need to go west. We need to make this equal. So if the guys that are east realize that they need to be doing something for the guys that are west, I think that's a positive. I think that's a good thing. And who knows? Let's just say you go to the Russell Convention and Visitors Bureau and they say, oh, heck yeah, we'll get you a free meal. I mean, come on. You go out to a banquet for a free meal, buy a few strings of $20 raffle tickets and win some things. I mean, it's about having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having a good time, rubbing elbows with friends. And I can tell you, we're going to do a better job of recognizing those people that are accomplishing things within the Kansas Bass Nation. The 6 people that are going to make it out of the state championship. I think the anglers of the year that are going to make it out of the team circuit, the team champions, the Hall of Fame, the master class,
Kids.
kids.
Yeah,
Yes,
I like
yes,
to include the youth.
absolutely. We've not really involved the youth very much in the past, but we need to. We are kicking around the concept of trying to have some type of a guest speaker. Now, guest speakers cost money. So I don't know what all we can do, but we're actively trying to make the banquet a better process, a better event for our members.
Quick note for everyone. Sorry, Brad. The committee has firmed up that while I can say we because I'm on the committee. While we don't have a final plan, as Brad suggested, we do know that we're moving the banquet to be associated with the spring meeting. So we're not talking about this coming, November, December. We're talking about next March. So 10, 11 months from now before the next banquet.
And every year, and maybe it's the same thing as the business meeting. Maybe it's not. We don't have that finalized yet, but we are going to go to the spring. I mean, every fall, guys, we ran into, well, if you go too late, it's Christmas. Well, wait a minute. We're into Thanksgiving. Wait a minute. I've got this Thanksgiving party or this Christmas party I had to go to. Oh, when did quail season open? Oh, when did rifle season open? Oh, when did pheasant season open?
Mm-hmm.
We understand all of that. Every year, the fall just seemed to be a difficult time. And so we're going to try the spring. We're going to try kicking off the year with something like a banquet, an awards banquet. We're going to see what happens. And it's going to be east this next spring. And we're can't promise because I'm only one person on the committee, but we're seriously looking at going west. And again, I think universally all the guys on the committee were all nodding their head and saying the same thing. Yes, it's only fair. If we're east, we also need to be west. So, and again, I'm not sure exactly what constitutes west.
Or central.
West.
Well, as we recall, the Moody doctrine suggests that Western Kansas is Fredonia. So a line vertically through Fredonia, that would put you, if I'm remembering my geography correctly, just about Topeka, right? Straight north of there.
Yeah.
So you're saying Topeka is west. I was
Well,
told that for years as the tournament director, so that's fine.
I don't know. For me, that kind of depends on which way I'm facing, because that's either left or it's right. But if I'm facing the other direction, it might be right or it might be left.
Wow. Guys, Brad Van Riette, La Harpe, Kansas.
No,
Pride of La Harpe, Kansas.
no. No. I'll tell you a story about La Harpe someday.
At least he didn't say Coyville.
You occasionally you see some things in life and you just thank for God's intervention. And I'm not going to go any further online, but I can tell you sometimes God intervenes, and it's a good thing.
Yes, indeed.
Salina Banquet every year, problem solved. Yeah, I'm with you. To the guys that are west, that's east. The guys that are east, that's west.
Centrally located.
All we got to do is find us a way that we get free meals and free motels and get all of our gas paid to get there.
America.
Find us a deal. Cut us a deal.
And breakfast on Sunday morning at Russell's.
All right.
Kiki, how'd the ball game go?
Good. Real
Who
good.
will win?
That's that's for
Don't
further
tell me.
discussion.
Don't be one of those parents that say you don't know. We don't keep score. You know
Well,
who won.
Unfortunately, John, in today's world we live in, it's sad to say it, but every kid is told that they won. And
If you think, I'm going to tell you this as an experienced father, if you think for 1 minute that your kids don't know who won that game, you're sorely mistaken. There may be one or two on your team that don't know, but they know.
I'm meaning my son, he gets pitched to, and if he doesn't hit it, they put it on a tee, and they wait until he hits it, and then he only gets to run to first base, and everybody gets to bat. There are no outs. There is no foul balls. I'm just ready for a little bit of a more real baseball game, but
that's not really real.
It's not. And Max knows that, there is such a thing as getting out and not getting to just swing for the fence every time. But it's fun to watch him play. I enjoy it. Unfortunately, there is no points keeping track of or anything like that. And it's just kind of, that's the downside of it. But he hit the ball good, run good, played a few different positions, and
did he have fun?
On to next. Absolutely.
Okay.
If he had fun and he learned something, then you're good.
Yeah.
6 years old. Devin.
6 years old. 6 years old.
It's amazing when they turn that corner and start to get it. Like, get the game. Like,
Yeah.
we've watched a couple games of Amelia's this year, and her growth. I mean, she only had like 3 games, but her growth from last year to this year is amazing. I mean, last year she looked like really somebody that wasn't sure if she even cared about this game. This year, when she steps on the field or steps in the batter's box, he looks like a softball player. I mean, a real softball player. She's got the best swing on the team. They've got her playing third base where she was playing first last year because she couldn't move quick enough to get a ground ball. Now she's playing third. I mean, it's a 180-degree turnaround. It just something snapped in her. Like, she's enjoying it, having more fun, and you can tell that it's amazing to watch when they just get it. Oh, this is what they've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I noticed a little bit of that, a little bit different deal, but I picked up some glide baits from a friend of mine that does some custom painting, and I just recently opened my pool, and you know, the pool right now is used for a test tank. It's not used to swim in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking the glide baits out to the swimming pool to see what they do last week before we left for Grand, and Max decides he wants to pick up his rod with a spinnerbait on it and practice casting. And last year that spinnerbait would have been over the privacy fence and in the neighbor's yard, and this year, he's doing that. He's
doing a roll cast.
He's doing that roll cast, and it's touching the water right before it hits the edge of the pool. And I mean, he's not making a perfect cast every time, and I don't expect that.
But you can see the light bulb.
Yeah.
Click.
And I think it's because there's maybe a boundary line. He knows if it doesn't hit the water that I'm going to say something to him for denting the pool wall or something, so he knows that. But that was
I thought this was going to be a torn liner story when you started.
Well, round 2 of practice is an evening that we get to go back out there and check things out. So who knows? But
years ago when I was a youth director, they were pretty young, but you could watch kids that would show up and just really didn't have much of anything, and how they would progress and how they would get better. And, you could tell some of them, it was more of a passion than others, but it's I'll tell a little story. I'll tell a little story on my wife. So Steve French from McPherson, their club was going to Big Hill, and they were short a boat. So he got me to take my boat down there, and he gave me 2 kids, and it was the first time they'd ever fished a tournament. Okay, so we're at Big Hill, Stump City. First time they've ever fished, and one of the kids had a 202 with about 30 feet of line on it. And he had a metal tackle box that looked like he'd picked the baits up out of a gravel parking lot. The other kid had like a 33 or something, but he also had pretty nice spinning reel and rod. And he had a pretty nice tackle box. but he wouldn't get in the tackle box and he wouldn't use a spinning reel. And when I asked him why, he said because those were his dad and his mom had told him not to use them. So at the end of the day, we got done. We'd had a good time. I honestly tell you, we didn't catch any fish, but we had a good time, told a lot of stories. It was one of those beautiful mornings, and you could look off to the east and see the sun coming up and feeling the world come alive. And, it was just one of those things. And so, because I only live about 50 minutes from Big Hill, I just headed home. Then we had to go back. I had to go back the next day. I got home and I was telling my wife about it. And she says, well, you'd think they would have better stuff than that. And I said, well, it's like their first tournament. And she says, well, you got better stuff than that. And I said, yeah, I know. And she says, and you don't use it all. And I said, well, I mean, come on now. And she says, no, don't you think you should get a couple of poles for them? And don't you think you should get a bunch of baits for them and take? So that night I picked through my stuff and picked out 2 poles, and I went back down there and told the kids, okay, here you go. This is something you can use now. And she had told me in no uncertain terms I was not supposed to bring them back home. So when we were done, I told the boys, they brought them, and they said, oh, thanks a lot. And I said, nope, they're yours. My wife said that you were supposed to keep them. Well, pretty soon Steve French comes over and he said, he'd bring the poles back. He said, hey, these guys tried to keep them. I said, no. So you just never know, and one of those kids at, I'm thinking it was at Milford. I went up there and helped as a boater probably 6 years later. And he walked up to me, and of course he'd changed a lot in the 6 years, and I didn't recognize him. But he told me, I got to fish in your boat for 2 days at Big Hill, the first tournament I ever got. And I just want to tell you, I thank you.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
And you just don't ever know. You just don't ever know how you can positively impact somebody by just trying to be good. And, I'm pretty sure that he probably still didn't have the reel and the baits, but that's okay. I made a couple more poles for me, and Mary got to feel good about bossing me around.
Hey, Brad, if I get a little hard up for some fishing tackle, and I'll take you fishing on Big Hill anytime.
I'll tell you something. At my point in my life, if I will tell you, if I got it and you need it, you can have it.
I kind of figured that's the old fella you are.
I've got a lot of stuff, and I've had a pretty good time in getting here, so I don't have a problem with passing on.
Well,
Not passing away. I didn't say passing away. I done tried that once, and I couldn't get it accomplished well. So,
in that case, we'll go fishing sometime, and I like GP3 missile bait D-bombs.
I'll get the credit card out.
Wait a minute. Hang on. We fished the team series together like 3 seasons. And
Did you give me an order list? Did you give me an order list?
Josh, we're going to need to reserve a few baits on that drop tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yeah. Send the bill to Brad, right?
Send the bill to Brad. Hey, you know what? What we didn't do tonight?
Not yet.
We haven't talked about fantasy. And we haven't talked about anglers in action. Kinda. I guess we mentioned Jared.
Yep.
Kyle.
I can't. I don't know how many people are listening. That's they call wait to tell that story until we get off alive.
Okay. Moving right along to fantasy fishing. Brad, do you do fantasy fishing?
Nah, I don't.
I didn't until this year. It's kind of interesting.
Hey, look who joined us right there at the bottom.
Hey, Peter.
Mr. Peter Perovich.
Man, thanks for coming on.
Hope you're feeling better. Listening from Minnesota.
Wow.
Very nice.
What was I going to say? Oh, anglers in action. I mean, they caught them pretty good. I mean, Kyle and Moody had 16 pounds, I think, and weren't in the top 40, I don't think. And somebody else I talked to had 16. He was like right by you guys, 45th or something like that. And
Well, I think we ended up.
I think you were 30.
I think we ended up in the 35th or 35th or 30. I don't know. I just
there
saw
must have
where
been a
they,
lot of 16s because my buddy had 16 and he was in 45th place.
Yeah, we had 1639, and I just saw where we finished in our points in the open division. I was happy about that. So
Yeah.
I want to say that you were about 35th or 36th because Dale Manning and his brother were like 31 or 2, and they had, I don't know, an ounce more than you.
yeah,
It's like,
and
16 pounds.
I mean, yeah, Jared had 18 and he was in 18th, and
yeah,
the top 3 teams all had like 23 pounds. You know, Kojak won it with 23.4, I think, 23.44.
he had a
something
good day
like that. So the fishing was still pretty good last weekend, and
obviously the conditions were kind of threw everybody a curveball. The water come up. It was hot. It was 7:48 and some change when we were practicing. The water was still kind of coming up, and then slowly, like towards that evening, they started kind of getting it under control, I guess you could say, and started catching up with the release and the inflow. And then Saturday rolls around and the lake's kind of dropping a little bit, and they're still yanking almost 50,000 cubic feet out of it. And the inflow dropped to like 25. So it fell, I can't remember. I think it was like 4 or 5 or 6 inches that day, Saturday. And, it's fun fishing stuff when it's that high, but it's also very trying because, like we were talking, if you lose focus for just a split second, your bait's in the water and it's in that junk. Something, if you don't have the perfect reaction time when you get that key bite, it'll cost you. And I had a fish that, maybe just didn't get the bait right. I don't know. We were flipping bushes and willows and junk on the bank, and I mean, less than 5 foot of water, and still catching some spawning fish. And I flipped in a bush, and the bite wasn't good. You just felt like a little bit of pressure difference. You didn't really feel a tap or anything like that. You just flipped the bait in there, let it fall to the bottom, and I popped it once, nothing. I kind of went to pop it again and was like, that feels weird. Set the hook and kind of get the fish to the top of the bush, kind of, and it just comes off. And you're like, 3.5, 4 pounder. I don't know, but I know it was better than a couple of fish that we had in the live well at that point. And then Moody did kind of a similar thing towards the end of the day, and it was around the same size quality fish. So, man, I mean, it is what it is. I think we should have had somewhere around 19 or 20, but who knows, because we didn't get to weigh those fish in. So, but other than that, and truthfully, if I'm batting 75% and so is he, that's still pretty darn good for the stuff that we were flipping our baits into. Because, I mean, the bite to catch ratio and some of that junk is pretty hard. So
Yeah.
sometimes I like to try to maybe overthink some of it a little bit here and there. So I like to flip a straight shank trocar hook, and I was flipping a D-bomb, and I actually like to use a 3/0 straight shank in a D-bomb. I just feel like it fits the bait a little bit better.
That's what I do.
You know, sometimes what I think happens when you really get a good hook set on that fish, that hook comes all the way through the top of their nose and hangs out. And I think when you're pulling them up out of that bush, I think sometimes that hook sticks that limb and hangs you up. I don't think your line is twisted. I don't think the fish is necessarily pulling that hard against you. I just think maybe it's just an unlucky circumstance.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, so, but that's how our day went. And you know, we did catch one fish, Carolina rigging, but majority of all our fish came flipping or fripping. And it was a fun day. I mean, Grand Lake is just, it's hard to get away from, and it's really, really, really trying when it comes to, I mean, those guys down there just insanely catch big fish. And it's just incredible the amount of people that are catching them and the amount of bags, you know, that are over. How many bags were over 15 pounds? It's a 150 boat tournament. How many 15 plus pound bags were weighed in? 50?
Keep talking and I'll dig it up real quick.
I mean, it's just,
well,
it's crazy.
I think that's probably over now. Unless we got enough rain to bring it back up. Because I went today and there's about 6 inches left in the bushes. And I caught fish in that 6 inches.
Yeah.
I caught 2 decent ones, a 3-pounder and a 2.5-pounder in like 6 inches of water on a willow tree. But it's hard to get anywhere near the bushes now, and there's not much water in them. There's only a couple inches of water in most of it. But unless we got enough rain to bring it back up, that's probably a done deal, I think. But
you know what kind of disappoints me just a little bit is, you know, a lot of the anglers in action, Nichols is still, you know, has one tournament left, I guess, but AIA's done for the year down there until the fall. But there's still a really, really awesome shallow shad spawn coming. And the spinnerbait fishing and the swim jigging and the buzz baiting and all that is still yet to come. And I square billing, all that. I can't wait. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be lights out.
Yeah. You got the Grand Challenge coming up. That's next big one, I think. Grand Challenge. There's a high school tournament here next weekend.
Those kids should catch them.
And then you got the fishing and golf beatdown next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
As long as the high school kids turn the cheater box off and fish in less than 10 foot of water, they'll have a good time.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll do that, but
TB,
So-
how many bags over 15?
So 49th place was $14.99.
yeah.
And there were 26th place through 39th place was all 16 pounds.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, it's really awesome. The one thing that just never ceases to amaze me is when you're practicing and you're not catching 4-pounders, you might as well leave or do something different.
Yeah.
And I've never been one to be able to just smash 4-pounders all day. So I do a lot of things different.
There's the first awkward silence.
Because we're done with the anglers of action. Need to go over our,
What? Sorry. What?
I was going to say we need to go over our fantasy teams.
We'll let her fly.
Let me pull it up.
I'm on my cell phone, so I'm gonna bow out on that.
You big wiener.
Just scared.
Producer Crank usually sends the invite to my wife's email, and I didn't see it on there this evening. So
Okay. Well, that was producer Dan's fault, so I'm sorry. Because producer Dan doesn't have Emily's email. So anyway, I blew it.
All right.
Surprise.
You ready?
I'm ready, man.
My team, I am sucking so badly that I don't even know if it's worth it, but I got a whole new strategy this week.
and they're on Lake Fork.
If you can figure out my strategy. In bucket A, Jay Shakurit. In bucket B, Corey Johnston. In bucket C, Easton Fothergill.
If you're not scoping, you're hoping.
This is the whole thing is scopers.
Bucket D, Stetson Blaylock.
That's kind of an interesting pick.
And bucket E, Greg Hackney.
That's also an interesting pick. There's Greg's on a roll right now, so.
So I picked the highest ranked angler in each bucket.
That just happened to be scopers.
No, there's the highest ranking angler in each bucket. Jay Shakurit is leading in AOI. He's number 1. Corey Johnston is, what is he? He is 12. Easton Fothergill. Let's see. Easton is 13. Stetson Blaylock is 39. And Greg Hackney is 55.
You know, my original strategy was, Brad, was every week I was just picking guys that had been on the podcast and not doing a bad job. Totally
Well,
by accident.
well, where am I going next? Who's picking me for the next tournament? 'Cause I've been on the podcast now.
I'll pick you.
Well, Kiki, you promised Kiki Bates, so I guess there you go. Bucket A, I went with Lee Livesey, because why wouldn't you? B, I went with Kyle Welcher. And then I started mixing it up a little bit. C, I went with Jason Christie.
Mm-hmm.
And D, I went with Matty Wong.
I don't know about that pick.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, he had a decent tournament, I think, last time. At four.
Hey, he knows how to throw a glide bait.
Yeah.
And E, I went with the local cat, Blake Caps.
So I had almost all the. I had Livesey and Blake and somebody else that you mentioned in the on my original, and then I'm like, man, my guys are sucking, so I'm not doing that. But I did pick. I believe I picked on the Drain the Lake. My Drain the Lake, I picked Stetson Blaylock, Blake Caps, John Garrett, Wesley Gore, Lee Livesey, Ben Milliken, Matty Wong, and Chris Zaldane. And that's a lot of local guys. I'm trying to go for the win on one of these.
I think I would have picked Keith Combs.
Yeah, he's just.
I think it's gonna be a post-spawn thing. I think he's gonna get rocked with his crankbait.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought about it, but.
Or a Carolina rig.
I probably should have picked him because he's probably not going to do well up north.
Yeah, I think his Carolina rig or a crankbait. I think he should be in the top 5. I really do. I think he's going to do well.
So I spaced off doing that one. So I'll just jump on into the pick'em, because I did that. I picked Will Davis over Shakurit. I picked Lee Livesey over McKinney, because that's just a hope so. That was wrong of me. Keith Combs over Eber. Matt Robertson over Milliken, because that's another hope so. Went with Fothergill over Palmer. And Blaylock over Cifuentes. I picked Christie over Zaldane.
I would have picked Joey Cifuentes over Blaylock, but other than that.
Let's see what I did here.
Joey Cifuentes is really good with his forward facing. He's probably going to be in the top 20.
Yeah, I think some of them guys are in their own heads this year, though. I picked Jay Shakurit, Trey McKinney, Dakota Eber, Ben Milliken, Easton Fothergill, Stetson Blaylock, and Jason Christie.
What was your tiebreaker weight?
91.10.
I think I went heavy. I went super heavy. I went 108.8.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a handful over 9 and 1 or 2 over 10, and I think it's going to be on a big plug.
Maybe. I don't know.
Just the way I think, just from what I saw at Grand, I think has already went down in Texas maybe a couple weeks prior, and I think there's going to be a lot of post spawners on offshore structure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But that's kind of why I went with the lower weight. Because they're not, the last time when they were there, when they had all the 100-pound bags, it was pre-spawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also like a weird Patrick Walters shad spawn the year before or 2 years before or something. And that's when Lee won it, I think, topwater in those big giant rock piles out, or those islands out in the middle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be a fun tournament to watch. I always like
Should be.
watching guys fish.
I didn't see it, but did either one of you see the MLF?
Yes,
tournament?
I watched the last 10 minutes of it
The
by
finish?
accident.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
I tuned in right at the very end. It was incredible.
apparently it was the most exciting thing in the history of mankind.
I don't know if I would say that or not. I've seen some pretty exciting stuff in my life, but
that's what they're claiming.
It was pretty cool, and I was cheering for the underdog. I wasn't cheering for Jacob Wheeler,
Yeah.
I was cheering for the other guy, and he got his fish in the boat, and Wheeler didn't. So, and if Wheeler would have, he still wouldn't have beat him.
Yeah.
And Brad, you can mark my words. You can do whatever you want. But if you're only 50 minutes away, you're in Iola, right?
Yeah.
If you're only 50 minutes away from Big Hill, I'm 50 minutes away from Big Hill.
I'm an hour and 20.
You need to meet me at the ramp sometime and let's go fishing.
You need to fish with us down there when we have tournaments.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept where I am right now. Last year's not been bad, but for the 2 years before that, there was no getting away from work. 2 people covering one hospital 24/7, 365. You want to go on vacation, that means the other person's going to work and be on call for 14 straight days. I kind of got out of the groove, so to speak. But yeah, I need to just get in the truck and show up at the ramp and say, okay, I'm here.
I don't know if there's any such thing as a slow season in your line of work, but if you want to go fishing, even if it's just for daylight till noon or something, honestly, July and August are 2 of the best months on Big Hill to fish. In my opinion, they are. So anytime the back of the boat's open, you can fish out of the front of the boat, and I'll run the trolling motor from the console unit. I don't care. Whatever.
Oh, geez, we got one of those kind of boats.
Well, I'll just put a Berkeley 10-inch power worm on your rod and just tell you where to throw. How about that?
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. I noticed it wasn't a D-bomb.
No.
Not that time of year.
Nope, I switched to Berkeley Power Worms exclusively after June. So
He has no idea what color though.
blue flex.
He
Oh,
thinks it's blue flag.
Yeah, that's right. He's colorblind.
And if the water gets dirty, red shad.
Yeah,
Okay.
those will work.
And if I go to Stockton, it gets plum. And that's about it.
7.5 or 10-inch.
10. I'm looking for bigs. I ain't looking for them little shrimpy pricks.
Wow.
We'll make a trip.
Let's do it. I think it'd be a great time.
Yeah. We can do it. We can figure some things out about the world, maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So earlier today, I'm like, Brad, really, could you come on for 30 minutes? And man, if this is the one time that you come on this podcast, we gave you your money's worth.
Yep.
We're at 2.5 hours. And it's way past my bedtime.
Well, then I will say good night.
Good seeing you. Good seeing you, Brad.
Yeah.
What
Good to
we've
be
got?
here.
What is the beat down next week, John?
The beatdown, fishing and golf beatdown. My dad and 3 of his buddies, all like 72 or older. Like my dad's 80. So him and his 3 buddies are coming, and we're going to fish. They want me to put together a little derby, fishing and golfing. So we're going to fish 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in the morning, like 6:30, 7 to noon. Grab some lunch. Then we're going to play 9 holes on 3 different courses, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that'll be the derby. And then Thursday, we're either going to just golf 18 holes or we're going to fish, whichever has been going better.
Or sleep in.
No, these guys won't do that. But it'll be fun. Barbecue, cookout and barbecue. And, they do that golf and fishing thing on Lake of the Ozarks in the fall. And it's a pretty cool deal.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Pape's coming over. I'm going to take 2 guys with me, and Jerry's going to take 2 guys with him, and we're going to fish, and then we're going to weigh in the boat fish, 5 fish, and then everybody gets that weight. So, like, if we catch 15 pounds in our boat, then I'll have 15. The guys that are with me will each have 15, and then we'll go golf. And we're going to golf as a scramble. If you know anything about golfing, you hit, play the best ball. You each hit from the tee, and then you go and pick the best one, and you both hit from there, and so on. And so if you get a double bogey, it's even. Anything worse than a double bogey is minus 1 pound.
Oh, geez.
And if you get a double bogey, it's even. If you bogey the hole, you get plus 1 pound. If you par the hole, you get plus 2 pounds. If you birdie the hole, you get plus 3 pounds. So, and then each guy, is the team of 2 gets that total. So you just add it to the weight, and then you rotate. I'll have a different guys with me the next day, and we're going to rotate who's on the golf teams, and Jerry's a pretty good golfer and he's a pretty good fisherman. So Jerry's probably going to win this thing, but it'll be fun.
That will be fun. So we're going to catch you guys live on the patio Tuesday evening.
Yeah, and then so those will be our guests next week. So
Awesome.
we'll have Jerry Pape here, who's from the Nebraska Bass Nation. Been around a long time, and then my dad and his 3 buddies. I think they're all veterans, and it'll be a cool. I know 1 or 2 of them will really get a kick out of being on the show. So that'll be. I haven't told them they're going to be on the show either, so it'll be like a surprise. But yeah, the weather's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees every day next week. Sunny, very little chance of rain. So it should be good time. We should be able to sit out on the outside and just all gather around the picnic table and do this show from out there.
Cool.
And then those of you that are, wondering if we're ever going to get a pro level guest again. I mean, Danny touched on it. It's kind of their busy time, but I got commitment from one very high level guy today. His wife texted me. You guys will know who that is. They're about ready to announce something big, and then he's going to come on the show for that. And then we got a verbal commitment from 2 more. So we'll have some pretty good guys here in the next, and Clay. So we've got, at least 4 that are on the. We're just looking for a scheduled time that matches everybody's that we can agree on. So, but it'll be good. All of them will be great.
They're all great. Every single guest we've had has been
Absolutely. Great. Yep. Absolutely.
Parting thoughts, Brad Van Riette?
No, thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you.
Sorry I ran on at the mouth, but
you didn't at all.
I mean, you did good, because I'm sitting here watching the Cubs game. It's in extra innings, so
there you go.
He's
watching the Cubs game because I'm so good.
I really don't want to. I don't want to stop, because if I stop, then I'm going to have to turn this off, and I want to at least watch us win here.
So, Brad, we had Mark Menendez on early, I don't remember when, January. And he's a Kentucky fan. Kentucky was playing somebody. I don't remember who, if it was conference or what it was. But I had the game on in the living room. I had the door open to where I could see the score. So then I would, down here in the comments, I was texting Mark the score of the Kentucky game, and then he'd give me a thumbs up or something like that. So yeah, it happens. People are people. Guys, thanks for watching. We gave you your money's worth tonight. As always, thanks for especially for Brad for coming on, being positive and enlightening us on all things KBN tonight. Hey, do something nice for your mama.
Yes.
Mother's Day this Sunday. All you mothers.
Yep.
Peace, man.
Peace.
Peace and happiness.